Welcome. This is an actual play of a role-playing game. All the participants are adults. The content is intended for adult viewers. We strive to keep the content PG to PG-13, but it is a horror story and may contain horror themes. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy. Howdy, friends and floorheads. It is Saturday afternoon here on the East Coast and some long overdue Vaesen. It feels like last time we played Vaesen was like 7 years ago. And we left things at a really tight spot. So very quickly, our 4 Thursday children have been investigating some weird reports of weird phenomenon happening at a small town convent, the Convent of the Holy Mother. And where we left them is because the inn where they were staying burned down, they were accommodated some overnight furnishings here at the convent. Now, Ian, Josh, and Oscar, being men, were separated off to a kind of a small little makeshift dorm room behind one of the secondary kitchens, and the three of them were asleep. Anastasia got a chance to stay in another nun's bedroom by herself. She was awoken by sobbing sounds, and when she went outside to the hallway to investigate them, Anastasia realized that these were disembodied, though she could hear the sobbing happening right in front of her. She was unable to see anything. She then flew the door open, grabbed her crystal ball and her salts, and started a seance. And when she tried her observation roll the first time, she failed. So she pushed, she pushed and got a success. And that's where we're going to start. So Anastasia, the door is open and your eyes are closed as you start to go into your trance, but you are blocked at first. So can you give me a sense of what this push looked and felt like for Anastasia before we talk about what she sees?
Sure. She's felt this before. Spirits that don't necessarily want to um, communicate because of a sort of an emotional blockage happening, usually revolving around some type of anxiety or fear of lack of being understood. And plus, the communication barrier is sometimes difficult between the realms of the dead and the spiritual and the living. So she feels that resistance happening. I like to think that her push was basically centering and focusing her mind and kind of saying in her mind to whoever it is that uh, I'm here to help. I'm here to listen to you.
And when Anastasia does these seances, she's able to connect to really, I think, multiple different areas behind the veil, right? She can connect with the dead. In fact, I'm guessing maybe the most common thing she can connect with,
Mhm.
but she also connects to the supernatural, right? The things that are beyond just life and death. How does she tell
Uh,
where she is as far as what that connection is?
there I would say that in her experience, there's been two factors that uh, attributed. When it is the dead, there is a melancholy emotion, like emotional wave that kind of washes over her. And there is a very specific type of chill, a coldness that she can feel um, on her skin. On kind of on her inside, when you're out in the very, very, very cold, you feel like you can feel it on the inside as well, kind of crawling up her spine. She feels that sort of uh, sensation when she's connecting with the dead. When it's the supernatural, it gets a lot weirder, right? Depending on the creature or being that it is. But with the dead, it's very, very, very clear cut.
So as you close your eyes, What you see at first, Anastasia, despite your eyes being closed, is the room where you are. You can see the open door. You can still hear the sobbing. And then, in a very strange way, the landscape around you starts to melt like candle wax to darkness. And that weirdness gives you a sense of maybe what type of connection this might be. And as Anastasia has pushed through here, not sure where she is, that gives you an inclination of maybe what you're connecting with. Except it's also cold. So that quick judgment to say, "Ah, I know what this is now confused because it almost feels like both. And a black sand starts to rise up from around you. It starts to form, and it looks like it's trying to sculpt images. And the first thing it sculpts is a carriage. And at first, it's hard to even tell it's a carriage. It's almost like this bizarre sand sculpture. But then as you concentrate and you focus on it, it becomes almost a reality. You can see a royal carriage, and you can tell it's traveled a long way. And you see it reach the front of the convent. And it's got a royal insignia on it that you're not familiar with. It's hard to get it exactly, but it looks like some sort of eagle of some sort, but it's not. You can tell it's a royal seal, but you can't tell what kind of royal seal it is because not one that's super familiar to you. And the door of the carriage opens, and the two people that step out, you know immediately are royal, more so than even if you had not identified how regal the carriage itself was. One is an older man, dressed foreign. He's not English. He's not British. It's hard to tell what he is, but he is royalty, and it's obvious he's royalty, as is the young woman he's with. This woman can't be older than 16. And as they start walking towards the front of the convent, things begin to shift again. This image melts away and starts to reform, first as a sand sculpture, but then slowly becoming clearer to the point where again it becomes a picture of reality. You're in a closed room, and it's cold. And at first you just see the nuns scurrying around until the vision centers on a table or maybe a bed. It's hard to tell. And the same young woman is there, and she's in a white gown, a very simple, just like nightshirt that extends all the way to her ankles. And she is on this table, flat foot, with her knees in the air. And there's a nun who seems to be trying to help her. And the size of her belly tells you what's happening. And you can hear the pain this woman's going through. And you can hear these voices saying, "Dear, you'll be okay. Just push, just push." I want to quickly cut to the three of you sleeping. Can I get an observation test from the three of you, please?
Oh,
Sure.
if I press the skill, does it just roll the
It
dice?
should, yeah. And we only really need ones to succeed. All right. So we've got both Ian and Josh succeeding. Oscar, you are dead asleep, just snoring. And it's that snoring that has kept Ian and Josh just not able to really get some good REM sleep in there. And let's have it happen at the same time where Ian and Josh, you kind of wake up because you think you hear something. And it's a creaking noise. And as you both sit up and kind of look around the room to try to get a sense of where this noise is coming from, you notice that the door to the kitchen is slightly ajar. And even though it's dark, there's a little bit of moonlight coming in, you can tell, yeah, there's someone's looking in, and they're small, like a child.
So really, we're just seeing a silhouette of them, maybe some reflected light in the eyes.
You can see their little eyes, and you can see that
Okay.
whoever it is trying to be super sneaky.
Okay.
Is it like super sneaky, or the sneaky that everybody is obviously seeing that person who would be awake?
I mean, the two of you see whoever this is, right? But you know, you get a sense of this child is probably not as clever as it thinks it is.
So Ian, in his mind, definitely is like, okay, we have weird things happening, but we also have an orphanage here. Kids out of bed after night. This could just be a kid. Whatever. Probably best to just kind of look at him, kind of nod, slowly wave, and kind of do a come here, just as a friendly, very slow, not making any sudden movements kind of situation.
So you hear a giggle, and I think the giggle betrays the gender of our little child. You hear this. You hear a little girl just giggle. She goes,
What's your name, kid?
and you can hear her trying to hold back the giggles. She's like, I see you. You're not
We
supposed
see
to
you
be
too.
here. I see you.
We just needed a place to sleep, so that's why we're here. So, but of course we see you as well.
It's okay. The Mother Superior gave us the room for the week or so.
As soon as you say that name, the door flies open. And you can see the back of the child as she runs away to the other side of the kitchen.
Aha.
I'm going to cut back to Anastasia. Anastasia, you're watching as this young woman is giving birth. And then it cuts back to a vision of the carriage. And just the man steps out of the carriage. And then two nuns are helping this young woman to the carriage. She no longer is with child. And the man helps her into the carriage. When that melts away, though, what comes back is a little girl. And you can see that she's standing and she's frightened. Even though in the framing of this vision, all you can see is the little girl. You can't see above her, to her left, or to her right. You can see the look of fear on this child's face. And you can tell that there's somebody behind her in a dress that you saw at the first vision. When the knife comes into frame, the vision fades away. And you don't hear the child scream. You feel the child screaming in every single part of your body. And what was other, what was outside, what was all up here is now reverberating through your entire body. So we're going to do our first fear test for Anastasia. Now, before we do that, we figured out a few things from last session. One, we figured out that her using her memento from the end of the previous session did clear one of her mental conditions. So she's no longer frightened. But we got a little bit of bookkeeping to do, because to get this vision from the seance, she had to push. So, Robert, of the 4 conditions that are available to you, with what just happened, which one do you think you'd pick up?
By the end, angry.
All right, so let's go ahead and mark her angry. Now, the way a fear test works is Anastasia has an option of either trying to resist this fear through logic or through not observation, either through logic or empathy. It's her choice. Because 2 ways we can work through fear, right? Logically or empathetically. Which of those 2 are you going to use?
I mean, it's the same for both from a mechanical standpoint. So I'm going to say for her, logic. She's probably feeling some of the visceral anger of, kind of watching what transpired. Obviously, the, murder of the child. And so she's trying to kind of bring herself back into reality a little bit and kind of go through the same steps that folks who suffer from panic attacks or other things. She's going through like grounding exercises for coming back from her
It might be time to get out of the
crossing over.
seance. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So this is going to be a fear test 1, which means you are going to roll for logic in this case. Now, normally, if you have anybody with you, you would get bonuses, but you are alone. So no bonuses for you. You need at least 1 success to not be terrified.
All right. Nope.
Now, if you push this, you're going to pick up a condition. Because it's fear 1, if you don't push this, you will pick up terrified. And terrified is a temporary condition that we'll talk about how it works. I think it's better than picking up a condition because it's temporary. But that's up to you.
I'm not going to push this.
So you feel this, Anastasia, through every part of you. You get to choose your terrified reaction. Is it flee, freeze, faint, or attack?
We're gonna go with freeze.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a single D6. You can do that from the die roller.
There we go.
It's not going to last long. We're going to have it last for a minute. You are frozen as you come out of this. We cut back to Ian and Josh. Ian and Josh, the door flies open. And at first it looks like a magic trick until you realize that she was running through the door open. And she's run to the other side of the kitchen where the other door leading to the main hallway is. And you can see her fingers as she kind of peeks up to see if you saw.
Definitely give a big smile, and yeah, we still see you. But also with the kind of underlying of, oh, sorry, didn't mean to scare you. It's okay. Just very much trying to be being not a threat. Being not a threat is the big focus for Ian at the moment. Like,
and you hear her again trying to hold this back, but it just bursts out of her. She goes, I see you again.
We see you too.
Oscar, this has woken you up.
It's all that time in the bathroom.
Yeah. I think Oscar's going to, I say quickly, but quick for Oscar, to kind of stand up, figure out where his dog is. Charlie?
Charlie's curled at the end of the bed. His ears have popped up.
All right, so he's safe. He's safe, and I see what's kind of happening, and uh, Ian, Josh, what are you guys doing?
No, Oscar, there's a visitor. See, she's like somebody came to see us.
I kind of peek around. I'm assuming I see this child.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can
down
see the
down
top of her head. You see her little eyes and her fingers on the counter of this butcher's block.
I'm going to pick up Charlie and hold him in my hand and say, "Little girl, do you want to pet my puppy?"
And you've piqued her interest, so she kind of peeks up a little bit more. And she's a little olive skinned, dark hair, and you can see that Charlie's got her interest. And she goes, "Does he play tag?"
Not yet.
"He's it." And she runs through the door.
Oh, damn. I look to the other guys.
I mean, Charlie's it. You know.
I set Charlie down and go get her.
Okay, Charlie starts running towards the door, but he can't make it through that door because it's closed now.
Let's start going after this child. Let's see where this leads. I'm gonna open that door and start following Charlie.
All right, so you
We're
head
in
to the
it.
kitchen. You head to the kitchen. Ian, Josh, are you right behind him?
Yeah, we follow suit. I do at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, Ian has a moment of, all right, we're weighing the options. Sure, let's go.
So you get to the door that leads to the hallway, and Charlie's there, tails wagging, and he's anxiously, waiting for you, to push on the door. And you push on the door and you open it, and the hallway is there. And I think instinctively, Oscar, your first thing you're looking for is somebody in a habit, right? Because you guys have been pushing things a little bit already tonight. I think getting caught out at who knows what time it is done. And then the next thing you do is you look for your little girl, and the little girl is there, and she's probably a good 20, 30 yards down the hallway. You can see her, and she's running and she is giggling. Charlie takes off.
I'm following Charlie. I'm gonna run down that hall right after Charlie, after the girl.
And
Started it. Let's finish it.
yeah, Charlie has no regards for things. You're trying to keep your bearings, but it's just like you take a left, then you take a right, and you can tell now that you're in a part of the convent you've never been in before. And it's a little disorienting because you're trying to keep your eyes on this child. Charlie doesn't seem to be able to catch up. The child is shockingly fast. And just as you're turning a corner, Oscar, after a left and a right and a left and a right, and now you're completely disoriented, you see her opening a door. She goes, and then jumps in and slams the door behind her.
As this was going on, was there something supernatural, if I dare say so?
There's nothing that indicates it. I mean, she looks like a little girl. There's no chill, there's no effect, nothing seems different. This feeling of being disoriented is just because you're racing in a building you're not familiar with, right? You've only been through just a few different areas of this convent. She's taking you in a place where you've not been before. By no means does anything feel off in that respect.
So it's just 3 grown men playing tag with a little girl during
Three grown men following a dog playing tag with a little girl. While we got turned around, did we go up or down any stairs, or is it
You
just
did
left,
not.
right, left, right?
You're still on the first floor.
Would we recognize if this is the part where's the orphanage? I don't remember if it was upstairs. or
That's what you
somewhere
can't
else.
get a sense of, Josh, right? I mean,
Mm.
in the frantic trying to keep up with Charlie and keep up with this little girl, I don't think either of you have a clear sense of where you are.
I don't imagine there are like signs on the door for like, Mother Superior's office, pantry, etc.
How weird for you to say that, because when you get to the door that she slammed after she stuck her tongue out, we see on that door, office, Mother Superior Margaret Evans.
If I put my ear to the door, can I hear anything? Just right away.
You hear her giggling, and she's doing something in there, and it's making her really happy, and you can tell. And it's like either she's moving furniture or like there's something's going on in there, and it seems to be to her utter delight.
Is there light seeping around the door, or is it everything during a moonlight, basically?
Yeah, everything is just the ambient light.
Yeah, I will try to cautiously enter the door, open it, and enter.
I pick up Charlie, by the way.
Pick up Charlie.
Yeah.
You turn the door and you slowly start opening it. And before you see her, you see papers flying around like snow. And as you open the door more, you see this little girl just giggling and having a great time as she's pulling the drawers out of Mother Superior's desk and just tossing papers and envelopes from the top drawer. And then she's going to the second drawer and she's just giggling and laughing.
What's your name, kid? What are you doing here?
You're it. You're it. You can't find me. And she seems to dip like behind or under the desk, and you can't see her.
I will look around the desk so I could see her.
What are Ian and Oscar doing?
I'm staying at the doorway.
Yeah, Ian came out a little bit behind them. He's been keeping up, but he hasn't gained ground. So he's kind of coming to a stop as Josh is opening the door and coming through. And he's taking in the scene, being like, oh no. This is going to be bad.
Something's fishy.
So he's looking around, seeing if anybody's coming or anybody else can see them.
So I've got Josh at the threshold. I've got Ian kind of behind Josh, kind of looking up and down the hallway going, we're going to have to clean this up. This is not good. Or no, Josh, you're headed. Oscar's the one that's behind Ian looking, right? Or Oscar, you said you were at the threshold.
At the threshold.
And Josh, as you start to kind of turn the corner, and God bless this little girl, she is doing her best to keep quiet, and she's doing a terrible job of it. You know exactly where she is. She's right where the seat pushes into this desk. And as you turn the corner, she pops out and she goes, "Oh, now I'm it."
You're right.
Oscar, you are thrown off the threshold into Ian. The door slams. You hear the door slam as she says that, Josh. And when you turn back and look at her, something's off. Just instinctively, you kind of step back a little bit. And she looks at you and she tilts her head and she goes, "Wait a minute. You're not my mom." And as she says that, the hair on her head starts falling away. And her body starts to change. She starts to get larger.
I'm definitely stepping more and more back. As this is
Yeah.
happening.
And you're seeing, and it's at first, I mean, it's so much to take in, and it's overwhelming as she begins to turn into a raven the size of a Doberman. And at the face, where you would see the eyes and the beak of this raven, a size unlike anything you've ever seen before, is a grotesque mockery of this child's face, with black veins that stretch at the edges of where the feathers start and her feathers end and where her face starts. Look at that. We need a second fear test. This is going to be difficulty 2. Is it going to be logic or empathy that's going to help Josh in this fear test?
I need to roll for Václav first. Jesus. So,
Good point. Yeah.
so it's a fear test. So one thing, I have some talent. Gain +2 on fear tests in the presence of someone you have sworn to protect, which would be Ian. So I think that would apply. But you
If
said
Ian
I
was in the
can,
room with you, I'd agree,
yeah.
but he's not.
And okay, okay. So you said logic or empathy.
Yep, you can use logic or empathy.
I'll use empathy because I think logic was just thrown away after this chase. He got surprised quite a bit. So I just need to get hold of my emotions, I would say.
Okay, we need 2
that's what I-
successes.
Empathy, no bonus. And let's roll it.
Flee, freeze, faint, or attack. How would Josh react in a terrified state?
I think flee, freeze, faint. I think Josh can dish out some. I think Josh would attack. I think Josh would be. He's quite strong guy, and if he's frightened, he will try to fight back as his first response, especially if he failed horribly like this.
Scared to death, we see Josh attack from outside the door. Ian, you have got Oscar like in your arms, right? He was physically pushed into you. The door slams shut. You hear muffled sounds from behind, and you hear a scream from Josh.
Ian definitely like kind of pushes back forward to kind of get Oscar standing up. Probably has a half second of like making sure he's not just falling forward now, and then just darts around and goes for that doorknob and just starts trying to pull it.
Door's not locked. You push. It resists at first, and it's not the locking mechanism or the doorknob mechanism. Something's pushing back, but you push again, and as the door opens, you see Josh lunging towards what I described before. This large raven with a child's face. Josh, how are we attacking?
I punch it right in the noggin. I think, like square on, just fist and punch it.
Okay, let's do it.
So I'm not sure how. Do I go to combat and
Yeah,
kick
you should
or
have unarmed
punch?
there.
Yeah, there is a kick or punch, and I guess I will just roll it. It's still 8 dice, so let's see.
Ooh, look at you. 3 successes for 1 damage. Now we go. This thing does have armor. We'll see if it can get rid of any of 0 successes. That is going to be damage on our critter. I have marked it. Now, the way this works with Vaesen is as you injure it, you give it conditions. Once you fill up its conditions, then you have broken this Vaesen. Each one is going to change how it acts, though. So as you go and you start punching this, and I'm wondering, Josh, if part of you thinks like, is this real, right? But when your fist hits the chest of this raven, whose wings now, the span of the wings have to be 8-9 feet, grows up, and you hit the chest of this thing, you feel it physically, and it pops back, and the child goes, yeah, and you can see these sharp teeth on it. Oscar, what are you doing?
I'm gonna send Charlie's my protector dog. I'm dropping him on the ground and say, get him, and I throw him forward.
And he's going to stop though, Oscar. He does not want to go in that room, but he wants to try to stay between you and this thing. But whatever this thing is incredibly frightening to Charlie as well. So Charlie is doing his dutiful role, which is to protect you, but he's done it on offense before. And if this was a person, maybe he would do exactly what he would sick him, right? He has no interest or no ability to do that right now, but he is physically barking at this thing, making a huge racket and trying to position himself between you and this thing.
As this fight is happening, once Josh actually hits it and it stays, and the child face, like, is it a shriek? Is it groaning? Like,
It's a shriek. It's a
Okay.
shriek, and you can just see the deformed large mouth it has with these serrated teeth.
Okay. I think in this case, Ian's like gentrified upbringing is going to kind of take over in the face of what the hell is going on, and he's gonna just bark at Josh. Josh, that is a child. Get over here and don't hit them again.
And as that's happening, this thing is responding to you, Josh. So we're going to have an attack from our friend here. So it comes with its talons. As you punch at it, it screeches and it now lifts itself up, and its feet, claws, talons come and are attempting to scratch you. What is your reaction? You can dodge because you have not used your fast action yet. Josh.
Josh. Sorry, I thought it's Ian.
Nope.
Was thinking what to do next. I will definitely dodge. I will not parry it.
Okay,
So
you
I
should be
believe,
able to find that under combat.
yeah, it's under combat. I don't see it, but I believe it's. I have it open meanwhile, and it's
Take
just
a look here
agility.
real quick. Hold on one second. Josh, combat. Oh, it's not on there. Okay, dodge is a straight agility roll,
Yeah.
and you're going up against 2 successes. And that is a success. All right. So you avoid the claws of this thing. What does this dodge look like as these claws are scraping at you?
So since it's probably as tall as I am, if it's like scratching on me,
Definitely.
maybe even taller. So I basically go against the scratches and under, and I just dodge, like just through it. Maybe just jump down and under the claws, so it just barely misses me as it is going after me.
And you knock it, and it's flapping its wings, and it's almost doesn't have room in this office to do this, and it clamps itself and locks itself on the desk to kind of give a height advantage, and it's completely concentrated on you, Oscar.
Seeing what's happening, I am going to. Josh went to the other side. So, am I looking at the back of this thing?
You're looking at it kind of from the side. This is kind of happening in front of you. Josh is to your left. This thing is kind of center in the room on top of the desk.
I'm going to rush up to this child bird, and I'm going to try to push this thing over and say, I'm it.
Okay, so you run up to it. I first need to do a fear test for you.
Okay.
Now, with Josh in the room, you're going to get a +1. Are you going to do this with logic or with empathy?
Empathy.
Okay, empathy. You're going to need 2 successes.
All right. And then you said I get a bonus with.
You get a +1 bonus because Josh is in the room with you. One total success. Do you flee, freeze, faint, or attack?
Do I have the option of pushing that at all by chance?
You can, but that's going to guarantee you a condition. So you tell me what makes sense. And I forgot, Josh, I need a 1d6 for you on this on attack.
Oh yeah.
See how long it lasts. How long you're terrified.
6.
Terrified for 6 rounds.
You know what? I am going to push.
Okay, let's push it. That gives you your 2 successes. You avoid the terrified state. What condition are you picking up?
Would this be mental or physical or either? Or
This
I get
is
to
you.
pick one?
This is based off of empathy, so it's going to be mental.
Mental. Okay. I think angry is the
Okay.
right one.
Let's mark angry as you now come and you go to push this thing. So let's go ahead and let's do do like a kick or a punch.
Okay.
Pushing will pick up a physical condition.
Yeah, I'm going to go for it.
Damn, nice push.
Old man's
So
got it.
Yeah, you pick up 2 successes. Go ahead and what physical condition do you pick up?
Oh, this has to put exhausted on him. He's an old man. He just got woken up in the middle of the night. Yeah, he's exhausted.
So you push this thing and it falls off of the desk and kind of falls onto its back. And there's large black feathers are like come off it as you cause this thing to tumble. Let me just quickly mark her. Back to you, Josh.
Does anything happen when I say you're it
Nothing.
or I'm it?
And how does the fear affect me? So for 6 rounds, I'm basically fighting the fear with aggression.
Attack, so that's what you're going to have to do.
Yeah, okay. I will continue bashing it. We'll see how the roll goes, then we describe the situation.
Yeah, in a flight or fight situation, you have chosen fight.
Oh, yeah.
So it's irrational. This thing falls to the ground behind the desk.
1 success.
As you go to strike this thing again, you can tell that it's not having the same impact. And maybe it's because it knows, right? It can feel and sense that you didn't surprise it this time. So you hit it. It's slowly working its way back up onto its 2 legs. It is going to attack you. Okay, 1 success.
I will. Can I parry it? But I don't have any weapon, I guess. I cannot.
Nope, you can
You
dodge.
could-
You can't parry it, though. Cannot
I will
parry.
do the dodge. Oh, I fail.
Okay. So what are my options to give you a physical condition?
All of them. So wounded probably would make sense in this case.
Let's have that be a cut across your chest. So the talon comes and just scrapes across your chest and your arm reaches up and you can feel it. So let's mark wounded. Ian.
As this has all been going on, he is just like, he's starting to push past just the be polite upbringing, but he's still just like, this is still a child. Don't punch it. You're just making it angry. So he's going to run into this room and essentially try as quickly as possible, like grab each of his friends by the shoulder and just like start hauling them towards the door. Like, let's get the hell out.
I don't need to ask Josh this question. I do need to ask Oscar. Oscar, are you going to resist what Ian's doing?
No. Based on the response I got from this monster after I tried to accept the tag, no.
All right. So I do need an opposed roll between Ian and Josh, because the only thing Josh is interested in doing is beating the hell out of this monster. So what do you think makes sense from a strength standpoint?
So that's a question to Ian, I guess. Right?
Yeah, I think let's do this as an opposed force roll.
That makes sense. Because he is like sworn to protect me. Would me telling him to do something add anything to this?
Yeah, you can have a bonus, Josh
Okay,
or Ian.
cool.
So
Yeah,
do a
then
force
good
plus
luck.
1 Ian, and then just a straight force Josh
And I'm on -1 because of the
of the
physical
physical
condition.
condition.
Cool.
Still rolled 2. Damn it.
You're on fire.
So Ian, you go to grab him, and Josh has no interest in this whatsoever. You do have the option of pushing, Ian. You've got one success. You need a second one.
No, I think that this is not Ian's wheelhouse. He's doing pretty well on just the one success, honestly.
So you grab Oscar with your right hand, and you're able to pull Oscar off. And Oscar, this is a bit of a splash of cold water, right? When you realize what the hell is going on here, as you push him back. And Ian, you're trying to get Josh, and Josh is just pushing and headed towards this thing. It's Oscar's run.
Oscar's going to be screaming for Josh to step back, and I'm going to be taking a step back out of the room and trying to get out of this room after what I'm seeing.
Charlie, you see down the hallway, right? Charlie has now run away, but is kind of staying there to keep an eye line to you. But you can see his tail is down; it's not wagging, which I don't know if you've ever really seen before. You step out of the room, Josh.
Okay, I will continue the attack, but I would like to know how to do this. I'm thinking to use a memento, but I think it would make sense that I still do 1 round of attack and
Okay.
then put it into the situation. So instead of the damage, I would use the memento. If that makes sense, we'll see.
Oh, let's get there. Let's see where we are.
Yeah. So that's combat, kick, punch. So that's a 1.
Armor roll.
It's 1 success. And I don't see your dice.
All right, she's going to pick up another condition. With that second hit, in your soul, the screams change and they get deeper and they get darker, and you can feel the anger coming from this thing, the hate that is just spewing from its vocal cords as it comes to attack you once more.
I have trained for a fight. By the way, the advantage is 1 use only.
Okay, and what is it?
It's trained for fight. I was, I guess, getting ripped before we left. Could I use it for maybe the dodging? No.
Yeah, I missed the very beginning of it.
It's called. I have advantage called trained for a fight before we
Okay.
left out.
And what does it do?
Forgot about. I guess it gives me advantage during a fight because I was preparing, getting myself.
I'm fine with you using it for the
Lifting
dodge.
dumbbells and.
Yeah. Now, the one thing that you're going to notice with these attacks is as this thing is picking up conditions, it's picking up bonus dice.
I see. How do I add the advantage to the test roll?
You should have that option. So we've got 3 successes. Do roll for agility. When you click on agility, it should give you that option to do bonus.
So there is a bonus dice -1, so I put it to
0.
to +1 or to 0. Okay.
To 0.
And nope.
I need you to mark all your conditions. You're going to take 3.
All of them. Oh,
This is going to break Josh. Josh, so let's tell everybody what the conditions are as you mark them.
so first one I marked down exhausted. I think that totally makes sense. It's blinding. It's not nice fight. It's just throwing punches and being pushed around. So it's taking a toll. Only a few seconds of fight like this. It's he's waiting for that belt so the punching round ends, and it doesn't end. It still continues. Then it's bettered. The second one. It's it's taking its toll. He's slowly he drops down on the knees and stops dishing out the punches. And the last one, he's completely broken and drops down to the ground.
Give you a critical injury. All right, you pick up torn body.
Oof.
Nice cup of tea and I'm fine, right?
All right. So for torn body, let's see where it comes here. This is for 65 minutes. It is fatal. It puts your it gives you insight champion close combat +3 during that time, but you are going to need medical attention in the next hour or you are going to die. This thing's claws then grab you, Josh, and instead of just slashing you, it picks you up and just throws you up against the door. And it's standing there, and the three of you can just see it just go as Josh rolls, his body rolls to your feet, Ian.
I definitely like get under him, pull him out, and try like with my foot to just kick the door closed as I clear him from the door.
So the door rolls in. If you want to kick him out and just grab the door and shut it, you can.
Yes. Sorry, I keep thinking it goes
Yep.
out. So yes, get him out just enough to where I can like push his feet out of the way with my feet, reach the door, pull it in, and if there's a way to like.
Yeah, and Oscar's right there. So I think Oscar, you quickly pick up on this, right? And you're helping
100%.
get Josh. And Josh is bleeding. He's just got cuts and gouges on his chest. You see the blood seeping and just saturating his shirt that he's wearing. You close that, Ian, and as the door closes, you hear the breaking of windows happening inside. Anastasia, as you come unfrozen from what you just witnessed, the room is back where it was. The door is closed. But the door is not how you left it and how you saw it. The door is attached to its hinges. And though it was a simple door, there was a design on the door, a simple just frame design. Somehow, the door is upside down. We're going to go to a 10-minute break. And I think what gives it away, mostly Anastasia, is that the doorknob was closer to the floor on the right hand. And now it has obviously been reversed and turned upside down because now it's closer to the ceiling, but you can see where it's still attached to its hinges.
Am I still terrified?
No.
Okay. Do I hear anything?
You do not.
Okay. So she doesn't know what's going on elsewhere. So she is going to return to her enormous tome that she takes with her, the family tome. And given what she has now seen, she's going to just start looking through it. Specifically now, because before she was just going off of birds, right? Birds and mischief. Now she is seeing a lot more information. So she is actually going to start searching through, based on the fact that now she knows she has to go see a midwife in town, based on the fact that the vision, had to do with royalty and seeing a mother kill her own child, and uh, basically going to look up Vaesen that are have to do with children, that
All right,
are the spirits of children.
Let's do a learning roll.
Okay.
Ooh, very nice. 2 successes. We'll come back to that.
Cool.
Josh is at your feet. He is bleeding and is just soaking his shirt.
I know we had the one big gash on the chest. Is everything else, is it fairly superficial, or is there anything else that looks...
There's definitely one wound that's causing this more than any others. Yeah. And it's a large gash on his chest.
Okay. To start with, Ian is going to, I'm imagining, since this is a strange place, that he was sleeping mostly in his clothes with like a scarf slightly around his neck instead of like fully thing. He's going to rip off that cravat and like just do his best to just tie that over and like press it into that. He's going to not yell, but like quietly bark at Oscar. Give me whatever you can to stop this bleeding. He's not going to make it if this keeps going for long.
Oscar takes off his nightcap like an old man from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory would have. Takes it off, gives him that, grabs takes the shirt off his back, gives him that, and starts helping in any way, shape, or form, trying to contain this mess.
And you guys are on top of him, and you're putting pressure on this wound with this cravat and with Oscar's shirt, and the only thing it seems to be doing right now is soaking both of them up, right? So they're just soaked with blood. You are going to need somebody who knows what the hell they're doing.
Yeah. Ian has a little bit of medicine. I've kind of imagined as Josh has like taken care of problems for Ian before. Like Ian's picked up, like, I know how to stitch a gash or something, but it's not surgery.
Okay, you can do a medicine roll.
Okay. Yeah, he'll pull a needle out of we'll say his pocket was still there from when he laid down, and we'll go ahead and try and just get that closed at least somewhat.
Josh knows medicine if no one cares.
Josh has
That's
nothing
great.
to share. Your hands are shaking, Ian, as you are trying to remember, how you could potentially help Josh right now.
I'm definitely pushing this.
Okay.
Ooh, so close.
All right. So I would like Josh to pick up Hopeless. Not Josh. I'm sorry, Ian.
Ian. Okay.
So
That
Ian,
makes sense.
you now are realizing just how dangerous this is, and that your silly little Band-Aid level of medicine is not going to help. And for the first time, I think the sense of Josh is going to die has fallen on you. Oscar?
Oscar sees what's going on, realizes that Ian is at that moment realizing what's happening and being exhausted and angry. Oscar's going to yell at the top of his lungs, "Help! Help!" And I look at Charlie. I said, "Charlie," and I clap a couple times. "Go get help. Go get whoever you can, and just wait for a response."
Charlie says back to you that Charlie is trapped in a canyon. No, I'm kidding. Charlie takes off. And as the two of you are trying to keep Josh alive, we kind of follow Charlie as Charlie works his way through the convent and heads to the part of the convent where only Anastasia was allowed. He goes right to the dorms and he is barking. And you can hear that barking on the other side of the door, Anastasia. Let's talk about your two successes. As much as you have been able to piece together, one success tells you this is Vaesen. This Vaesen is stirred into existence by the unjust killing of a child by its mother. And the second success alludes to a few different rituals that could potentially sate this Vaesen, but it's nothing solid, nothing obscure. But you do know that there's more than one way, according to your book, to deal with a myling. That's myling.
Okay.
But it's not clear in the book what those are. There's tales told, right? And you hear Charlie barking outside your door.
She looks up and goes to the door.
You go to the door. The door's not latched because the doorknob is up too high, and you just kind of open up. And as soon as Charlie sees you, Charlie starts taking off back towards the main convent.
Okay. She'll grab her things and follow Charlie.
As you follow Charlie through the hallways, Charlie gets to where the three of them were. You see the blood on the carpet. Charlie seems surprised to not find the three of them and starts smelling to try to find Oscar's scent. I want to cut to the infirmary. Three nuns, Josh, are starting to stabilize you. One of the nuns turns. You've never met any of these nuns. What the hell happened?
There was... I doubt you'll believe this, but there was a child ran into the Mother Superior's office after a merry chase wanting to pet Oscar's dog, and she turned into a raven the size of a small horse and began attacking my man here.
She turns to the other nurse and she goes, "Sister Susan, go to the orphanage. We need a head count on all the children." And Sister Susan stands out.
It was a
Guys,
small girl, I would say, as she runs off.
And she gives you a nod as she heads out the room. Anastasia, as you follow Charlie, now that Charlie has Oscar scent, it takes you to the infirmary. And a nun just runs past you, says nothing to you as she runs past you.
Anastasia will look and then rush into the infirmary. Does she hear the voices coming from there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She'll walk in, looking kind of disheveled. Her hair kind of, even though it was up, has kind of frayed and frizzed out a little bit, and clutching the book, the um, crystal ball, and the dagger. Like she's just like kind of like looking a little pale, a little haggard, but like definitely like in the zone. Like, she just experienced, what she did from the seance and then the research, and now she's, basically just like rushes in. And yeah, so she walks into the infirmary, sees everybody in there.
Immediate relief from Ian seeing that Anna is okay, because he was definitely, if this happened to us, and I know her well enough that she's going to be digging deeper into weird occult things, concern.
Is Josh on like a bed or a table or something?
He's laying on, he's laying on
Okay.
an infirmary bed.
Bleeding or blood at least.
They have stabilized him. They have yet to save his life yet.
Okay. She'll walk up to the bed and she'll put a gentle hand on his head. And she'll turn to Ian and Oscar and say, "What happened?"
Ian, at this point, having seen Anna, has calmed a little bit and gets close enough to have a more just conversational hushed tones, and gives her a few more details of couldn't sleep because of Oscar snoring. Josh and I both woke up. There was a small child peering into a gap in the door, giggled, wanted to play.
Boy or girl?
Girl. We essentially said hi, and we're wanting to talk with her a little bit, but she ran off when I mentioned the Mother Superior, but not too far. Oscar woke up, said, "Do you want to pet my dog?" She asked if it played, not fetch, tag, and said, "You're it." Led us on a merry chase down to apparently the Mother Superior's office, slammed the door behind her, and began throwing around all of the papers and drawers in the office. Josh went in. She hid. He found her. From what I could tell, she said, "Well, now I'm it." And the door slammed shut. Oscar got thrown into me. And then there was sounds of a fight. The door, I had to force it open. It was fighting me. And when I opened the door, there was a raven the size, almost much bigger than the child. 8-9 foot wingspan. Except it had the child's face, but dark.
Distorted, dark eyes.
Dark veins around the edge when it turned into feathers. And they were fighting, and he got frenzied. And I pulled Oscar out of the room when he ran in to push the bird off of the desk, but I could not pull Josh out.
And real quick, Anastasia, so in your research, there was no talk of a giant bird or anything, but there was a connection between Mylings and ravens, right? So,
Okay. Yeah.
and its ability to control ravens and control birds. But what Ian described to you about the transformation of this child and this child-faced giant bird, that was
not
to
in
you.
there. Okay. Where's the child now?
Once it flurried on Josh to the point where this happened, he ended up at my feet. I pulled him out, closed the door, and heard the windows break.
I see. Is he going to live? She looks back down at Josh, concerned.
And the nurse nods to you.
Good. I think I have an idea of what's going on here.
Do enlighten us.
Not here. And she'll give it like a glance at whatever nuns are around of not here. I am actually going to go into town myself. Specifically to find a midwife.
What time is it right now, Craig?
So it's about 5 o'clock in the morning. So you're about an hour from sunrise.
Okay.
How long will Josh need to recover?
She says she goes, I'm gonna have the town physician. He should be up. We've dispatched a sister to go retrieve him. He will know better than I am, but he is stable. I think I've stopped the bleeding. But it's hard to tell. It's hard to he'll know much better than I.
Very well.
And it's the 18th century. He can also give you a haircut.
Yeah.
19th century.
She'll turn to Ian and Oscar and say, I can either go on my own or one of you come with me, but I do think somebody should stay with Josh.
Oscar, being exhausted and pissed off, he's gonna offer to stay back and do what he can here, not only for Josh, but there might be a benefit of sticking around and doing a little research.
Ian looks at him and nods thoughtfully, but says, I think you should go with Anna. I will attempt to smooth things over with anyone here after the ruckus. And he kind of looks a little dejected at this, and if she needs any protecting, you're going to be more help than I am.
Very well.
I'll see what I can find out here.
So a couple things real quick. We cut to Josh. You are still out, but you're bandaged. You're out of those clothes in more of a night shirt that goes down to your knees. Ian is sitting next to you. Anastasia has arranged for a coach. It's early morning, and we see Oscar and Anastasia stepping out of this modest coach in front of a small cottage. The driver says, "This is her."
Much appreciated. I'll hand him a couple coins.
So this is the home of Helen Tuscan. You were told as the midwife here in Bispham. It was actually Ruth was able to finally give you her name. The other nuns had no interest in sharing a midwife's name or a way to go talk to a midwife. There's a few things more blasphemous, but Ruth knows of her. And as you start walking towards the door, it opens. And standing there is somebody you've met before, Constable Falk. And he stops, he goes, "Oh, well, I didn't expect the two of you this early in the morning." And you see him taking something and kind of stuffing it into his jacket.
Anna, having established a little bit of a relationship with the constable, will put her hand out and say, "Constable, so lovely to see you on this morning."
Well, good, and it's good that you're being accompanied here in town. Is there something I can help you with?
No, we're here to see the midwife.
Miss Tuscan, why?
I have some questions for her. as I told you before, we're both practitioners of the old ways.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. Who has a better observation, Oscar or Anastasia?
Mine is 5.
I have 6.
Okay. Oscar, give me an observation +1 with Anastasia also looking.
Okay. I guess I'm actually -1 because of the angry. So
Yep.
I'll just put it at 0
Great.
to be neutral. Why did it just do 1?
How much do you have in observation?
It should be
Let's take
I
a
have
look here. Hold on.
4 and 2, right? Because you add
Yeah, you add your
base
empathy
empathy.
and the
Yeah,
observation. So it
hold
should be
on. So
6. Well, 5 with
observation
the...
should be 4 + 2 is 6. When you click on observation,
Yeah.
did you click on inspiration by mistake? Maybe that still wouldn't have accounted for it.
Now
Click
let
on
me double
observation for me, and then
close
what
the
comes up? Does it
sheet
show?
real quick. Observation 4, 2, and then -1 on bonus die.
Okay, and it shows the die there.
Yeah, and so I'll put
Okay.
0 on the bonus die, right?
Yep.
Roll.
There
There
we
we
go.
go.
Okay, cool.
So Oscar, is Anastasia is talking to the constable. You see on the cheek closest to you, not closest to Anastasia, you see a very faint lipstick impression on his cheek and kind of a dark purple lipstick where somebody's obviously kissed him on his cheek. But Miss Anastasia, if you need any help or anything, you please let me know.
I certainly will, Constable, and we are very grateful. This town is lucky to have you.
Oscar's going to go up and shake his hand and say, "Constable, it's good to see you again." And I'm going to give him the old.
Oh, and he does this, and he goes, I must be getting back to my wife.
And I kind of nod, give him a wink, and walk away. Just so he knows, I know, we know, he knows, I know.
I like to think that Oscar, like as the constable walks away, Oscar, looks at Anastasia and they both have like a little smirk of knowing like, oh, some morning delight.
So yeah, I guess we head up to the door.
Yeah,
You're right at
Dolores
the door.
Cottage. Okay. Knock on it, or is it open?
No, it's closed.
Knock.
And it appears it opens, but not fully. And a woman's head kind of fits into the door. She obviously in a very simple peasant dress, you can tell, but Anastasia and Oscar, she might be in her early to mid 20s. Like
It's around my age.
smoothest
character's
olive
age.
skin you've ever seen. And there's no other words to describe her other than she is stunningly beautiful, despite the simple hair, despite the simple clothes. Yes?
Miss Anastasia Gray, if it please you. I'm here because I have some questions. I understand you're a midwife and you practice the old ways. Is that correct?
Yes, but answering questions are not part of my services.
What if they involve a myling?
She opens the door and gestures for you to come in.
We'll nod and I motion for Oscar to go first.
It's a modest cottage, and you can see a small living area. It's not even a bed, it's more of a bedroll in the corner. The majority of her cottage is taken up with linens that are stacked in the corner. But more than that are dried herbs, jars. In the center fire, she's cooking something, but you can smell it's not food. There's a table like right by the door that has different herbs and ingredients on it. And Anastasia, you kind of take a peek at it as you come in, right? And look at it as you go to find a place to sit. There's 2 stools for you. And I don't want you to roll for this. Seeing those ingredients makes the smell make sense. You
Okay.
couldn't put your finger on the smell, but seeing the ingredients, you know for sure that whatever's cooking inside that pot is poisonous. See you on the other side of the break, or other side of credits. So after 2 sessions of mystery and investigation and tension, one of the stars and wishes at the end of session 2, episode 2 was, I'm ready for that to break. I'm ready to get you ready for some action. I think we got that. And unfortunately for Josh, he got the most of it.
Oh yeah.
So I'm probably going to start with you, Robert. What has Anastasia pieced together?
Anastasia has pieced together that what we saw on the day that we arrived, and learned on the day that we arrived, that there is a royal connection with this Catholic school, or this Catholic
Convent.
Makes sense insofar as that the orphanage is probably chock full of unwanted children from the continent. That makes sense also as to why probably the convent still manages, despite there not being much of a Catholic population in Bispham, why they are able to operate and stay open is because they're being paid by this nobility for this service to take care of these children, far away from the prying eyes of the continent itself, presumably. I do believe that in the vision clearly saw the mother slay the child. For what reason, when it was going to be taken care of, hard to say. However, the young lady was quite young, so she may have been impregnated against her wishes. That is definitely something that's been on Anastasia's mind. Anastasia herself, in her background, knowing a little something about the way that society treats women, especially during this time. And she very much thinks that, based on um, hearing what has attacked Josh, that there is this connection, and that the child needs to be, laid to rest in some way. And I know we talked about that. We'll get into what those rituals are that are described in the book, but I think that having the discussion with the midwife is going to be a little bit illuminating as well. So
Yeah, and that's what we're going to hope, I think, because I
Mhm.
think because the book did not know, in your research, it did not know what type of things you could do to sate or to put to rest this
Mhm.
myling. We'll have to see whether our midwife here is going to be able to offer any insights
Yeah.
on that.
Um,
Go ahead.
I will say that where Anna wants to say, or put this creature to rest, because it is obviously suffering in some way, right? The way that it was murdered is pretty um tragic and awful. Um Anna is beginning, and maybe it's her skeptical nature and the fact that she has in her past also been, persecuted by religious institutions, is wondering how much the convent knows, or who in the convent knew, because a body obviously would have been found. And the fact that we also know that there is no body in that grave either. Um, so there are more mysteries. Even though I think the big mystery, right, has been solved, there's a lot more smaller pieces that need to be put together in order for us to be able to call this mission complete, and for us to go back to the HQ, thinking that this is a success, that there's a lot more going on in this town, with a lot more individuals, I think, who are guilty of the cover up. And that looks like, as bad as the crime is, it looks like the cover up is going to be just as nasty.
Who has things to add to that? Is there anything that anybody else has picked up this session, or anything that stood out in this session for you as far as our investigation?
That's the big one. I think it's telling that the little girl ran to the Mother Superior's office and was making a mess of it. I don't think we have
Mm.
all the pieces there yet, but that is definitely something that, as he's sitting next to Josh, recovering, wallowing in his hopelessness, Ian is going to be thinking about that and kind of putting pieces together.
So you think that's
Um,
significant?
I think that is. And the other thing that really jumped out to him, when the nuns who were working on Josh asked what happened, he specifically said, "I don't expect you to believe me." They didn't give him any kind of pushback of "that's
Mm.
crazy." They just said, "Go check on the kids." Specifically, I want a head count to see if any of them are missing, which, had we not just fought or been attacked by a giant bird that was a second ago a child, could have just been, "Oh no, one of them might be missing and they'd be hurt." In this case, I'm wondering if they're going, "Oh, one got out and hurt people. Our cover
Or
might be blown."
or not this again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez. An entire orphanage full of mylings, you monster. I don't know if Craig's that cruel.
Well,
Orphanage of the damned.
it could be manifestation of one myling, but several wrongdoings, right?
Mhm.
Maybe.
So fighting Vaesen, Vaslev, not really something you'd recommend?
Definitely. The fun part, I was going into this. Okay, we're getting the breadcrumbs to a shitstorm. Basically, bad things will happen. So, okay, I will be angry. Let's do some fight, and I will run away. How many rounds? How many rounds you are actually in frenzy fighting this? 6 rounds. Well, I'm dead. Immediately when I noticed, I was like, I guess I can go out in a glory then. And it is, I think it is interesting that it's showing that fighting Vaesen doesn't make sense like straight on, right? But when you're in frenzy, even a person that has had some interaction with Vaesen in the past would know better. But in this case, the system nicely told the story that Josh went a little bit out of his head.
Yeah, I like the terrified mechanic. I think what I like about it more than other fear mechanics in there is that if you do fail the fear test and become terrified, has nothing to do with sanity, which I always prefer, but I also like that there's agency for the player to choose the reaction, right? That you've got 4 choices of how you're going to react to being terrified. So even though you're forced to be terrified, you're forced to be terrified for X number of rounds. I like the choice, the agency for the character itself. Big takeaways for you, Nick.
This, watching Josh go through the ringer, just flashbacks of my experiences with Forbidden Lands, of how brutal this system can be. We're not meant to fight these things head on, and the system pushed it in that way, which was amazing that you're able to do that. But this is not the system to try to beat on this thing. It's trying to figure out how to expel and move forward and investigate. So it was great to see that unfold the way it did, because mechanically it made sense in what was the conditions in play. But yeah, it was flashbacks to that. But I love the change in gear that we had this game, and we jumped right into it. It was fantastic.
All right, let's go and do our stars and wishes. I'm going to start this time. So stars for me, I really enjoyed the encounter with the Vaesen. I enjoyed the decisions that the 3 of you made during that time. All of it made sense to me. Vaslav, you choosing attack, terrible choice, but exactly I think what Josh would do. And I always love it when the players are saying, own their character and move on their character. And I just thought the entire sequence and all of the actions involved there, making Charlie a part of it. I really enjoyed all of that. That was my star. My wishes are, we're now at, if you think of investigative RPG sessions, or multi sessions, you spend the first time in the roller coaster, clank, 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 going up and up and up and up. And I feel like we're just at the top of the drop, right? I don't think the drop has happened yet. I think, to Robert's point, you guys have figured out a good bit, a hell of a lot more than you knew last session. But there's a lot more questions to answer, right? The most critical one, there's really 2 phases in Vaesen, which is, one, what is it? Looks like you've got that with the myling, and hopefully the midwife can confirm it. 2 is, how do we sate it? How do we remove it as a threat? And unlike a lot of other scary horror RPGs, you're not going to kill this thing. And that's really, I think, something that's very unique about Vaesen, is the idea of how do we sate it? How do we negotiate with it? How do we, we now know it's rituals, apparently, that for mylings, and that's something I want. So I'm wishing for the 4 of you to find out even more. That's my wish. How about stars and wishes for you, Vaslav?
So stars is the situation when Nick and Roman were taking care of Josh, and especially even in the stressful situation, not focusing on how they were helping Josh himself, but even Nick saying, "Okay, I have my old man's nightgown cap, like I will hand it to you." So how in such a critical moment we were able to put in those details in that are just writing the story. We are telling the
Yeah.
story that something bad happened, and even those details, they sprinkle it. And I love that moment. Those details. That's what I like. That's my star moment.
And what are
Wishes.
you wishing for in the next session or 2?
I'm wishing for the Reverend Mother to get her fair share of hate from the other nuns in the convent, probably, because we unleashed everything. There was a mess in the night. There's nothing to hide now, right? Is there? So maybe we will get some friends on our side, and there will be a conflict between, I would say, the good part of the convent and the bad part of the convent.
Hey, so you think there's 2 schools here in the convent?
Yeah.
All right. Roman, stars and wishes.
Stars. I think I gotta give it, like Vaslav just said, we all had really good character moments. I gotta give it to Vaslav for going, yeah, I'm gonna fight the bird. I'm angry at it.
Yep.
Like, as our friend from Blades, Joe says, drama
Right.
runs the game. I loved
Yep.
that. That was great. Everybody had their moment though. Wishes wise, I am also hoping that next time we've gotten the what the Vaesen is and why it's here. We don't have the what caused it and what's still going on that caused it to be a problem recently.
Right.
Because we don't know when the vision that Anna saw was from. So there might
Great
be
point.
that might have been like the seed of this, but we don't know what watered it recently, if anything.
Yeah, and you figure according to the letters and stuff that Ruth sent to the house, to the Rose house, this has been going on for about 2.5 months. So there's
Yep.
something that happened 2.5 months ago that caused this to begin, and obviously now has much escalated. And yeah, I don't think you guys do know what that is.
Mhm. And specifically for Ian, I am very much looking forward to and hoping that happens some kind of conversation and confrontation with the Mother Superior, being like, "Hey, we might have some verbal gloves and masks come off." Going, "Hey, we were here, we're finding stuff out, but I'm gonna be talking at you as a dude with money now and knowledge that you didn't know I had." Hopefully. So we'll see how she deals with a direct confrontation if that happens.
Stars and wishes, Nick.
Yeah, the star was definitely Vaslov's RP this session. The you could see his wheel spinning, going, "What would this guy do in this space and with these conditions?" And it was just it was awesome to watch unfold and take note of. Wish, uh, amongst everything that's been said, wanting to know more. Yes, um, personally, I want to use my hobo trick talent. Something fierce. I keeps eyeballing me. I want to use it on something, and so
What
I
does it
keep
do?
I get +2 to stealth roll when trying to hide myself or an object from a human. So it's an opportunity for me to use the vagabond trait ability to hide something. And so
Yeah.
every interaction, I'm going, can I use that yet? Not yet. Dang it. Okay. Can I use it here? Nope. Dang it. But Charlie's been a cool segue on that to fill those weird needs. But that's what I'm looking forward to, is hoping to use that soon.
All right. Last but not least, Robert. Stars and wishes.
All right, so stars, I will echo Vaslov. I mean, and honestly, all three of you guys, like, the chase, the confrontation. I loved the tension that was being built by you, Craig, of managing it too, of having the party separated is always like um a challenge at times, of like going back and forth and balancing for the DM as well. And I thought you did a great job with that, of balancing the visions and what's going on with Anna, with the action happening, right? That and I imagine for the audience too, right? Like we're it must have been exciting because they're getting context with Anna's vision and research and things like that while all this action is happening. And so it felt very cinematic. It felt like an episode of like a serial, which was really great. Um, but yeah, like huge props to Vaslav for really like playing Josh and showing him being the, I always think of Josh kind of as the Guillermo from What We Do in the Shadows. Like he is the most hyper competent of all of us. Where he can do a little bit of everything and actually keep us alive. So that was really cool. My wishes, I'm actually gonna echo. I very much am looking forward to a well, first I'll say Anna is very much looking forward to getting to sort of the uncovering the secrets, right? Like she, from the get-go, she's been able to tell, especially when she went to that cemetery, things are not right. Things
Mhm.
are wrong and things are off. And her personally has had, issues with, larger religious institutions for not being accepting of her sight and old ways. And she is very much looking forward to basically showing that you know a group such as ours can also do just as much good, if not more so for bringing peace to a town like this. And she wants to kind of rub that a little bit in the face of the Mother Superior and admonish her.
She has
Like,
made no friends at this table.
no, she is not. But I'm looking forward to getting to the bottom of that with what's the conspiracy going on in the convent, right? That and just character wise, Anna's got some things that she'll be willing to say given the opportunity. So I look forward to all of that, but especially getting sort of to the bottom of this conversation with the midwife and finding out more information for us to start putting those pieces together.
All right, guys. Most recent episode of Tabletop Talk, the podcast, I interviewed the giant of board games, Reiner Knizia. So you can go to Tabletop Talk and you can check that out. Coming up next week, we've got my 1 GM, 1 player Knights Black Agent, having an incredible amount of fun there. We've also got, let's see, Forbidden Lands coming up in the next couple of weeks, Fear Itself, which is another horror that we've been running that we've been having a ton of fun with. And then let's see, I think we even penciled in the next Vaesen. When's our next Vaesen?
May
13th of May. Yeah.
13th, May 13th. We will be back with episode 4 of this. Guys, I appreciate you watching. You know the deal. Like, subscribe, all that baloney. As you saw, we have a Patreon as we picked up a patron while we were here on the stream. I really appreciate everybody sticking by, and I can't wait to play with the 4 of you again.
Likewise.
Take care, all.
Yeah.
Bye.
Take care.
Howdy, friends. Thank you for watching. All our content is archived and organized in playlists on the Third Floor Wars YouTube channel. Check it out. And if you could like, follow, subscribe, and even set your notifications to this channel on YouTube and Twitch, we'd appreciate it, and it'll make sure that you catch all of our content. I talk with creators, designers, and experts across the gaming landscape in every episode of our podcast, Tabletop Talk. Open up your favorite podcatcher and search for Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars. Support your creators. They make the content you love, and it's your support that makes it happen. If you want to help us, go to Third Floor Wars on patreon.com, and you can help us for as little as $1 a month. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Take care.